chases. Yeah, think of action film. You've got fights and you've got chases, haven't you? So where's the chapter on chasing? Where are the chapters on chasing? Why haven't characters got several chasing related skills? Well, they don't seem to. In fact, a lot of roleplay game systems simply give a character a speed at which he moves, and that's it. So if I go at 30 feet around and he goes at 30 feet around, I will never catch him. We just move 30 feet, well, whatever distance we start apart, we will remain that distance apart forever as we run, unless the games master just comes up with some improvised reason that this might change. But I put it to you that in fact, this is a major gap in roleplay rules. Why are there not rules for chasing? I would suggest that you come up with three sets of rules for chasing. I'm going to call them sprinting, chasing and pursuing. And I think I'm not going to talk about exactly what dice you have to roll or whatever, because every roleplay game is different. The skill system will be different, the dice you use will be different. You come up with whatever suits you. But I think you need rules for these three things. First, sprinting. Sprinting is a simple single die roll that gives you a yes/no result. So, for instance, a guy tries to run out of the room and slam the door behind him, but I see that he's going to try to do that, so I rush to the door first and slam it shut, keeping him in the room with us. Do I get to the door in time, or does he beat me to it? One die roll. No, I didn't make it. Drat, he's gone. So it's a simple yes/no result for an action that can be completed this round. That's sprinting. You should be able to come up with something for that, surely. At the other end is pursuit. That's the long chase where you're not going to come up with what exactly is happening every single round. Because you're chasing for miles and miles and miles. Pursuit might be something that happens over days or weeks across great wilderness terrain. You've got to try to track the guy down and catch up with him. How many marathons can you run? How lightly encumbered are you? How much food have you got? What's your endurance like? Pursuit. Chasing someone over a very long distance. You need to come up with rules for that. And in between is the sort of thing which is in most films, the chase sequence, where you're within sight of the person you're chasing most of the time, and things happen. So the man being chased might be deliberately knocking over all sorts of obstacles behind him in the hope that they get in the way of his pursuers. And the pursuers might be looking for an alternative route. Or maybe if I jump over that roof, run along that guttering and down onto that roof and slide down into that, oh no, that didn't work, and so forth. Action-packed chasing. And you need rules within this so that you know each round whether you're gaining or losing ground. And you keep reasonable track of the distance between you. So there you go. I'm not going to suggest, as I say, specific rules, because I think that's entirely system specific and you should come up with whatever suits your taste. But please make your roleplay games a little bit more interesting by coming up with chasing rules. And a great thing about chasing rules is that they will make it possible for villains to get away rather than always fight. It always happens, doesn't it? The big villain, as soon as you actually get him into a fight, he either gets away because, and it seems so contrived. Oh, he was always going to get away. The GM said just didn't want him killed, so he just went through a trapdoor and disappeared, and we couldn't get him. It was so unfair. Or, more likely, you just keep fighting him until he dies. In which case, that interesting character who might have reappeared many times doesn't get to. And the achievement that the players might feel when they do actually finally chase down the guy that they were after all this time and finally defeat him will be so much greater if you have rules for chases, which means that they are aware, because the GM is not in perfect control of the dice, they are aware that maybe he'll get away and maybe he won't. It's not predetermined by the GM. The dice are going to decide. That's far more exciting, isn't it? There's a type of word that I've been collecting now for a few years. I've been keeping an eye out for them, and whenever I hear one spoken on the radio or whatever, I just think to myself, yep, there's one, and it goes on the list. And I hear a little voice forbidding it in my head in a way which I find tremendously amusing, but maybe that'll just be me. But I hope this chimes with someone, and if it does, huzzah. Now, I want you to imagine that you're in a corridor and you see a sign on the corridor wall, and it forbids you from doing something in that corridor, some verb. Now, some verbs are so all-encompassing, so global, that it doesn't really work. So imagine you saw a sign that said, no going in the corridor. Going is such a huge verb, it's like all forms of movement. So I can't walk down the corridor, because that would be a form of going, wouldn't it? No going in the corridor? What does that mean? So if it's no doing, strictly no doing, no having, that doesn't really make sense. Those verbs are too big. But what if it said no running in the corridor? Aha! Now it makes sense, because running is a specific subgroup of moving, of going, that we all understand. If you see someone running, well, that makes perfectly sense. Perfect sense, doesn't it? You see someone running, wait, no running in the corridor, thank you. And he would know that he was running, and there would be an end to it. But imagine we get more specific still. What if it said no sprinting in the corridor? Atkins, no sprinting in the corridor. I wasn't sprinting, sir. I was running almost as fast as I could. You were sprinting, Atkins. Don't you think I don't know sprinting when I see it? No, really, sir. I was taking in oxygen, but actually I was not using that oxygen up faster than I could replenish it. So I wasn't technically sprinting, sir. You see that it's